The single breaker in the cycle of poverty in our country today is some sort of post-secondary education that has a labor value attached to it. That's the second part of the sentence that you can't forget about. There's nothing wrong with a good basic liberal arts background in anything. In fact, I would suggest to you that if you look at our occupational and technical programs, we're doing a lot of strong liberal arts in all those programs because we understand the relationship between those courses and helping people learn how to think and problem solve and be a part of groups and teams. But if we don't figure out a way to assure that we provide all, see, access and equity aren't the same. Everybody has equal access? Sure. Is that access equitable? Absolutely not. Forget whose fault it is. It's not even worth going there. The fact is we got to fix it. If we don't, those folks are going to be asked to sustain a nation that I think most of us would agree that formula won't get you there. So this is not only about what's fair, what's right, it's also about the economic sustainability of our country. And the single greatest knowledge you can have is if we don't get involved with this completion agenda, this student success agenda, right, we can't compete as a nation. That's what student success is around. It's not around an individual student. It is. But from the perspective of you all who are the opinion leaders of our communities, who hold the fiduciary responsibility of the treasury in your institutions, who have houses and lifestyles that you want to protect and pass on to your offspring. If we don't fix this, is anybody's hair on fire yet? I hope you're thinking. I'm not, you're involved in serious business. You're involved in the future of our country, literally. I don't think there's any question about that. I think that's what the politicians are trying to say without scaring the hell out of us. They don't want to say it the way I want to say it. If I had Bob come up and say it, he'd really say it. So I'm trying to mitigate it, right? So the problem is you're thinking in your head, and I would be too, you're smart people. Okay. But you know something? There's no money. You want me to do what? Produce 5 million more American credentials, post-secondary education that have labor value attached to them by the year 2020, and there's no money. And yeah, if we think in the old world, there is no money. What I've found in my own experience, and I know that some of us are finding it in our current experiences, there is money, but we may have to give up a little bit to get some of it. We may have to figure out a way to connect our resources to our colleagues' resources. And I would suggest to you there are 3 primary stakeholders in that arrangement. There's certainly those of us that do K through 20 and workforce system work. Your natural partners are the workforce boards in your counties. They're natural partners. Sometimes we don't look like natural partners. And your natural partners are the superintendents. And I will say to you later, and I want to just make sure you hear it for sure, if you're not partnered with your superintendent, this isn't going to work. You're not going to find that money, you're not going to leverage those resources, and you're not going to create pathways that don't have huge leakages in them. Because we have 2 systems that sit side by side that have to be integrated. And we can't integrate them politically. Tried that, didn't work. Some of you know the story. But they can be integrated by inserting a professional infrastructure and community over top of them with a common agenda. Employers and economic development officials are the last 2 parts of that puzzle. I just left last week a meeting in Chicago with a coalition that we're putting together. And in the meeting that day were the following. It was really remarkable. K through 12 superintendents of the districts that we serve. Manufacturing Association trade representatives, the policy people representing the manufacturers in my district. 3 owners of tool and die businesses. They build machines that make things. 10 CEOs who make things. They happen to be customers of those 3 CEOs. The college community, the curriculum people, and the economic development folk. Why were we there? Because right now in my district, there are 7,600 middle skills jobs, all related to manufacturing, all with retiree dates between 0 and 20 years, and no pipeline to replace those workers. Right now across our country, there are 300,000 open jobs in manufacturing. Open. People trying to hire people. Nobody take them. Don't need a college degree. Need some post-secondary credential that says you have a skill. These are our natural partners. Out of this kind of partnership, I've seen $250,000 grow into $1 million in the course of one afternoon meeting. Everybody had a little bit. Everybody could take a little bit out of a reserve account. Doesn't have to impact their operating accounts. And so together, this group produced $1 million to start working on a project to support this industry. So I would ask you, who are your natural partners? And I would suggest to you that they're waiting for you, the community college, as the absolute natural broker in the communities for thought leaders. Bring folks together and then leverage the resources. So how do you do it? What would be the things that this group could support that we've got a fairly good piece of evidence now that says, yeah, that works. That's something we can do. And I have to tell you, again, this presentation was developed last June. Big Ideas was developed 2 years ago. They just came together tonight and met each other. And one of the nice, great things to learn tonight is New Jersey's got a plan. I don't know if your hair's on fire about the plan. I don't know how much urgency you feel about the plan. I don't know how much you're pounding on the desk thinking, you know, we got to get this work done if we're going to save this state, our county, this nation. Don't know. Hope you do. But what would you want to see done? First, you would absolutely insist, job one, your institution, and sorry, colleagues, through your president, because I'm giving them some work to do, absolutely is on a first name, handshake, cordial, rapport-built relationship with the superintendents. Everything I have learned from Cumberland County, New Jersey, to Harper College in the Cook County of Chicago is that if presidents and superintendents don't provide the leadership, the intellectual leadership, and champion the synergies between their institutions, it doesn't get done. Lots of interesting projects get done because you got a lot of teachers who want to get it done and principals who want to get it, and they do a lot of one-offs, and that's great. But to have an integrated plan that's going to affect the community, that's going to drive completion, to drive student success, superintendents and presidents with the support of their boards have to be the champions. And part of your job one, in my view, is to make sure that that's the relationship your college president has. Second, you would insist that we focus on the 12th grade in high school. The 12th grade in high school is the most pivotal year we have with respect to space to do something about a problem or encourage more folks to get an early start towards completion. I call it a catch-up, speed-up year, and I've heard that thing's been repeated in New Jersey, and I'm glad to hear it, because I really think that is the year that we either catch up, we help all these folks know they're not ready, or we speed up. We help these folks get some early college credit at a reduced cost, so their time to completion is much shorter. And we've even found out that one of the ways to keep some of these folks interested that really leave early is to introduce them into different settings, early colleges, middle colleges, because they're finding that, for reasons that I can't go into explain to you tonight, but I've read enough to know it works for populations. Get this group motivated to be a part of this group and finally get here. You can't do senior year work without presidents and superintendents championing that work. Just won't get done. Too many other things get in the way. That's the president, superintendent, and assistant.